Hey YouTube, let's talk about elbow tuck and touching the bar to your chest when you bench, and we'll get to that in a second. Possibly the least popular video I've ever made was one where I told people that they needed to touch the bar to their chest in order to maximize strength and muscular development, and that it is important to actually touch your chest because that last 3 inches off your chest is where the most pectoral engagement is going to come from. If you're only going down to 90 degrees, you're not fully engaging your pec. The vast majority of comments that I get on that video is, this is stupid advice, you're a fucking idiot, people are going to blow their shoulders out, don't listen to this guy, he doesn't know what he's talking about, he's a moron. I get that, given that 99% of the people that I see in the gym bench incorrectly, and that's how they hurt themselves. So let's talk a little bit about elbow tuck, elbow position and shoulder position on the bench, and touching the bar to your chest. So when I'm at the gym, a lot of the times what I see people doing is, the bench is a full body movement, guys. It's not as simple as just getting under the bar and going. And people often have their hands in the wrong position, but one of the biggest things that I see is people having their elbows in the wrong position. And tell me if you see this a lot at the gym, but guys are benching, and they're benching like this, right? You see it. It's the bar is in the top like third of their pectoral. It's right up by their throat, and they're coming down and going up like this. Let's look at that from the side. Well, if I'm doing this, it doesn't, take a rocket scientist to tell you that the bar's not going to touch my chest. And in order for the bar to touch my chest, I got to really reef my shoulder out of position and put myself in a disadvantaged position. I'm going to load all that weight onto my shoulder, right? Because that's what happens when you don't have elbow tuck. If you've got your elbows up 90 degrees or even close to 90 degrees, you're loading all the weight on your shoulders, and very little of it's actually loaded on your pecs, all right? That's a very disadvantaged position to bench from, and it's actually incorrect form. But let's look at what happens if I just incorporate a minor amount of elbow tuck. Now, keeping in mind that I'm not doing this with an exaggerated back like a powerlifter does. So arms are up here, as where I see the vast majority of people benching, but if I just tuck my elbows and they drop down a little bit, well, where's the bar now? Bar's about nipple to sternum line. It's a little bit hard because I'm not doing it with a bench, but you know what? You can practice this and at the gym, but let's talk about that really quick. So a little bit of elbow tuck. Well, now the bar is nipple to sternum line, which is where you want the bar to be when you're benching. You don't want it to be in this top third, all right? You're aiming for about nipple line for the bench, right? Bar's gonna come down and touch your chest at about the nipple line, and then you're gonna explode up. Bear with me. So we're at the side. We've got our arms up here. No way am I gonna be able to touch my chest without really overloading my shoulders and just killing it. But if I just incorporate a little bit of elbow tuck, without doing anything, without moving any part of my body, just bringing my elbows down 45 degrees, that bar is going to touch my chest. And I'm not overloading my shoulders, right? Like I'm not having to bring my arms, like shoulders really, really back, because now I'm touching down to my sternum, right? So this, obviously, is dangerous. And yeah, you're going to overload your shoulders, and you're going to hurt your shoulders over time. A little bit of elbow tuck. Now the bar is going to touch your chest. All right, it's going to take some practice, and once you've got a bar and you start working on the movement of benching down to your nipple line and incorporating that 45-degree elbow tuck, you're going to find, holy crap, I can touch the bar to my chest. Furthermore, my shoulders don't hurt, or I don't feel my shoulders as much. It's a common mistake to make, and I do understand why, because a lot of basic movements, be it the bench press, the back squat, specifically the deadlift, my God, the deadlift, are done incorrectly at the gym. And yes, you can argue it is a dangerous exercise to do if done incorrectly. But with proper elbow tuck and just that little demonstration, you can do it on yourself and you're like, oh my God. Like all it's doing is deloading the weight off your shoulders and bringing the bar down, right? This is gonna load more of the weight onto your pectorals and onto your triceps, which is what we want for the bench. If you have an exaggerated arch like a powerlifter does, this is then emphasized even more by bringing lat development, the lat engagement in, and then puffing your chest out, so you don't actually even have to go down as far. But even just benching with a flat back, you can still get right down to your chest with elbow tuck. The whole purpose of this is it's going to decrease the load on your shoulders. It's going to emphasize the load on your pectorals and your triceps, and ensure that you have proper shoulder health, which really at the end of the day isn't what we're all wanting to do, is longevity of lifting. And there's still going to be some people that say this is dangerous advice. I'm not really sure why, but if you incorporate proper elbow tuck, it's a much safer bench. And the argument can even be made, you don't have to 100% touch your chest. You only need to be like maybe an inch off your chest. But it's better to have elbow tuck and be an inch off your chest than have your elbows up here and loading all the weight on your shoulders. I would rather somebody bench an inch off their chest with tucked elbows than do this any day, right? It's just longevity lifting and safety. That's it, guys. You can touch the bar to your chest with elbow tuck. It's gonna take some practice. It might feel uncomfortable to start, but I promise you over time, once you start loading up your pectorals and your triceps and you start touching your pec and you go, oh, that's what it's supposed to feel like, it'll make a heck of a lot more sense. Questions and comments down below. I get a lot of heat from people all the time telling me I don't know what I'm talking about with regards to the bench, and I do get that. Who am I? I'm not Spoto. I don't have a powerlifting world record. I'm just a guy who benches 4 plates on a regular basis pain-free because I incorporate elbow tuck, and thankfully for me, I have been able to do this for the last several years without any major issues. I'm 32 years old. I'm not a wee pup, but at the same time, I'm not a geriatric. Things to practice, guys, things to think on. Just think about the demonstration that I did with elbow tuck, and you can understand how you can touch the bar to your chest safely while loading up all the weight onto your pecs and your triceps. I've done a previous video about hand position with regards to bench if you want to search through my channel, and that'll explain approximately where your hands want to be, because you want, at the end of the bench, or the bottom of the position of the bench, you want your elbows to be in line with your wrist for maximal strength and safety, but you can look that up later. Questions and comments down below, and as always, guys, eat like a bodybuilder and train like a powerlifter.